services industry has certainly taken a big hit during the pandemic, and now with the closures in Peel and Toronto, one business owner is pondering what the future of personal services will look like. I'm joined now by Louie. He's the owner of Cabot Barber and Gentleman Supply in Mississauga. Good morning. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. How are you feeling right now that we're the second day into these new restrictions in Toronto and Peel?
Well, Marcia, thanks for having me. And how am I feeling? You know, this is the second time where I felt like we're basically rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic and we're just waiting for the orchestra to play us out. I mean, this really could be the nail in the coffin for a number of small businesses, local businesses. Certainly the personal services businesses were hit very hard. And quite honestly, it's devastating. And we're all wondering exactly what the next move is going to be.
Did you think when things started to reopen a couple months ago that you'd be back in this situation again?
Not at all. I mean, it sounded like we were moving the curve and it was flattening and everybody was doing what they were supposed to be doing. And there was a glimmer of hope, given that we would be back in business holiday. I mean, you got to realize that retail and personal services, 30 to 50% of our annual revenue comes out of the next 28 days. And given that we're shut down and locked down and prevented from doing what we're supposed to be doing, it's going to be a real challenge, not only for us to try to profit simply to make enough money to keep the lights on. I mean, given this, we sell product and we just stocked our shelves for a holiday season. We're fortunate in that we'll be able to move online as quickly as we can, but that's still not going to compete with the likes of the big box stores and the stores that are allowed to stay open, which is a real challenge for a business like ours.
And that has upset a lot of people, the fact that the big box stores or department stores that have access to outside doors going in and out, that they can stay open.
That's a real challenge. And the problem that we're facing, at least I thought that we would have a unilateral shutdown and we would all be in the same boat and, we would kind of be painted with the same brush. And that clearly didn't happen. I've got, shops around me. I don't want to begrudge anybody a chance to earn a living, but simply because they have PPE or sanitization, hygiene gear, they're allowed to stay open, whereas we're not. That's a real challenge. And there's been a heavily mandated industry to begin with, barbering and personal services. You can't walk in our shops without having a temperature check and have hand sanitizer and limited access to begin with. So here we did everything we were supposed to do. I understand that numbers were on the rise and that something had to be done, but we expected it to be across the board. And by the simple fact that you can drive 10 minutes down the street and be in an area that's not on lockdown, enjoy all of the services that we would have normally been offering now, becomes a severe challenge to us in knowing where we're going to be in the future.
Louie, I hope it's okay for me to ask this. Did you have cases of COVID-19 in your salon? Do you know if anybody came into your barbershop and was sick or made others sick?
That's the most disheartening part of this, is that to date, there's been no, from our understanding, there's been no tracing back to personal services environments, or at least barbershops. I can speak for my industry. I have 3 barbershop shops in the GTA. And no, there hasn't been. I mean, there's a lot of effort that goes into making sure that our staff are safe, and that's a number one priority. Second is to make sure our community's safe. And if we've done all the things we're supposed to do, we've been kind of a protector of what's necessary. Whereas I know that in other environments, in large shopping spaces, there wasn't the protocols. So there's been no tracing of any type of illness, sickness, or COVID-related problems from any barbershop. And that's where I think this is a big challenge. And knowing that you can travel within 10 minutes to find the service somewhere else tells me that we're going to have a challenge. This isn't going to be 28 days. And it's kind of hopeful thinking that it's only going to be 28 days.
Will you survive?
I got to be honest, I'm not sure. It's a real challenge to think what the future holds. But we're doing everything we can. I think that, all the businesses like ours are reaching out to our local communities and saying, please, if you are going to shop this year, and everybody's got a pinch because a lot of people have been affected financially. But if they are shopping, then I encourage you to please consider local. because these are your neighbors that are running the businesses in our communities. And that's something that's really important. If you want to keep the fiber and the makeup and the character of your communities, the only way we're going to survive is if our communities rally behind us. And that, I think, is the only hope we really do have. I know this for a fact that I'm glad that we have government subsidies and relief. However, it's just not enough. We can't be painted with the same brush. Interest-free loans are not going to help us when we have to repay those. So this could be, a dragged out issue that we don't necessarily see the impact not only today, but we see it 6 months from now, a year from now, when we're expected to come back to life with an economy that's not going to do well. I mean, we are the backbone of the economy, and we're being crippled.
Louie, thank you so much. Every time I talk to someone that's in your position, one of your peers, someone who is an entrepreneur, I'm struck by the fact that you have put in blood, sweat, and tears. All the best to you. Thank you so much. Here is the Prime Minister.